Hi, this is Troy Ray. I'm the pastor of Lakeshore Family Fellowship. A little while back, while I was trolling Facebook, I came across a video of interviews with people who being asked if they believed in God, and most of the respondents were young people, and most of them said no, they didn't believe in God. One young woman who responded said, "No, I don't believe anything that can't be proved. Anyone who does is an idiot." And so she had some emotion going on there, and I thought that was kind of interesting, and it kind of stuck with me. I thought about that. And I was thinking about that again this morning when I was reading a passage in Scripture. But as I was thinking about that passage in Scripture, um, what I thought was, you know, maybe it's not so much that people don't believe in the supernatural idea of a God who created all. Maybe it's just that those of us who are believers don't make that much of an impact on people who are not believers. In other words, maybe the power of our faith is not so great. And it made me think about this little picture that's that I keep on my shelf back here in my office. This picture has been around for a while. It's an antique. It was given to me. It says on the bottom here, George Troy Ray III, which is me. With love from Meemaw, in parentheses, great grandmother. Now, before I got this picture, my great grandmother had it in her house, sitting on a shelf somewhere with this note on it, so that when the time came that she passed away, it would be given to me. Well, let's see. When she passed away, I was only about 8 or 10, and so I think it was a while later that it was actually given to me. And the funny thing about this picture is this: I'm not going to use it's. I believe it's Carnival glass. I think that it is a Carnival glass creamer. Well, I'm not going to use it. For one thing, I pour my creamer out of a thing marked Cremora. And for another thing, I'm not going to use it because it's old, and I'm not going to sell it. It's a family heirloom, So what am I going to do with it? Well, I'm going to sit it back up there on my shelf. I think in a way some of us do that with our faith. you know, I, we don't necessarily use it, but we're not going to get rid of it. And so it really has kind of a loose attachment to our life. So here's the passage of scripture that I was thinking about. It's from Mark's Gospel, chapter 10, and it tells the event of Jesus and the disciples leaving this small town, and a man running up to him and falling down on his knees. The description of him was that he was a young rich man, and he fell down on his knees and he asked Jesus what he must do to enter the kingdom of heaven. Jesus told him that he needed to obey the 10 Commandments. And the man said, "I've done that all my life." And then it says, Jesus looked at him. It says, Jesus looked at him and loved him. That's always touched me about that passage. Because Jesus knew what was transpiring, knew what he was about to say to the man, and I think probably knew how the man was going to respond. Jesus encountered a lot of people that followed him, and he encountered a lot of people who didn't follow him. And he knew that this man was not going to follow him. But it says that he looked at him and he loved him. And he said, one thing is lacking. Go sell your possessions, give the proceeds to the poor, and come follow me. And the passage says that the man, his face fell, his face darkened. He was disappointed. He was sad. He was heartbroken, perhaps. You know, here's a man who forgets his own personal dignity and runs up to Jesus and falls on his knees, like he was maybe waiting for this opportunity for a long time. And then Jesus said what he said, and the man was, it must have been like a gut punch. Anyway, the man left. Now, Jesus had friends who were wealthy. Jesus was not making a statement about the evil of riches. He said one thing that you lack. And that's where it really touches our lives. What is that one thing? What is the one thing that keeps us from following Christ as true disciples? You see, I think that if that young woman that I mentioned who was being surveyed, if she met more people whose Christian faith had radically changed their lives, she might not have had that cynical a view of them. I don't know. I could be wrong. But the world will be changed by those of us whose faith has changed us, whose faith has changed our lives. I'm not personally convinced that what people want in order to believe in God is to see a parade of miraculous events. I think what people really would like to see is a few more people who have been changed by their faith, who have lost the self-absorption, the self-interest, the pig-headedness, and gained love, real love, unselfish love, disinterested in self kind of love, sacrificial love, the kind of love that Jesus Christ had. That one thing. And so it causes me to take a look at myself for that one thing that he may be asking of me. And perhaps he's asking you to take the same look. I love you. We'll talk some more.